What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time, where I get to speak to incredible gamers across the globe. Now, I go by the name of Mr. Midas, and I am your host. Now, for today, I have the most fashionista gamer I have ever seen in my life. Probably the biggest Sonic fan I know. A talented artist. We're talking black and yellow. Shanghaid, welcome to Too Many Games. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
I am super excited to talk to you about gaming because do you know what? I've been in the gaming industry for about 6 years, and even before I was in gaming, I've like been in a presenter and music. And one thing that's always been very synonymous with me is branding, and your branding is on fleek. Like even before I saw you, even before I met you, I should say, I just saw you and I just saw all your branding was just so good. So first of all, I have to give you flowers for that. But they are. Your fashion style is just different.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I love it. You could be on a runway right now.
I wish. I did do a little bit of dabbling in modeling a long time ago, but I'm too old for that now. No, I'm just gonna try and flex it on Twitter instead.
I love it. Well, as I said, welcome to Too Many Games. Now, quickly, let's just go back a bit. What's your gaming history? Like, why did you get into video games? Like, why did this become a love of you, and what made you progress into wanting to actually be a streamer?
Oh boy, so it started way back when my uncle bought a SEGA Mega Drive with Sonic, and it was for him initially. And that only lasted for a grand total of 6 months, because as soon as I got hold of it, I fell in love with that game so much. It got to the point where it was a thing that him and I used to like play the game together and see who could beat each other, get the fastest time in that. And then it hit Sonic 2 and I beat Sonic 2 before him, and he gave up with gaming, and I sort of carried on from there really. But my love for that game made me want to work in the games industry. And I said when I was about 7-8 years old that it was going to be like my life's work to get my name in a Sonic game. Snap 2 a few years later, I started working for SEGA as a QA tester. I got to work on some really cool projects. Did development for Sonic Generation start to finish, and that was literally my first Sonic game, titled Sonic game. And it's kind of gone on from there, really. I also do a lot of fan art, and I do a lot of work in the Sonic community as well. And it's just sort of like my love of games and my love of art just seem to kind of marry together. And that's why I'm doing the content creating now, just showing my love for both as best I can, really.
I love that. Must be incredible. Imagine being a kid and actually being the game that really got you to work in gaming and actually seeing your name on your credit. That must have felt good.
It did feel really, really good. There were many times I was testing that game and there were like tears in my eyes, like this is actually happening, and getting to talk to developers and just marketing about the game as well, and just being an active part in that as well. But yeah, it was a really great experience.
It's funny because the other day I did a video about like the best video game music, and like I'm the biggest Final Fantasy guy ever. Like that is my ish. Like I know you love some Final Fantasy as well. And all of those songs like really, really touch me. But I feel like a lot of Final Fantasy songs are like emotional and stuff like that. And I feel like Sonic has got some of the best gaming music ever. Like Chemical Plant bangs on a whole different level.
I agree. That's actually one of my favorite tracks. I feel like the Sonic series is often described as a soundtrack that comes with a game. And just like the range of music that's available in like the Sonic franchise, like also helps you get stuff done. If you want to like go to the gym, do some running, put some Sonic music on. If you want to clean the house, put some Sonic music on. It's just all purpose. I could
see you cleaning, listening to Chemical Plant, making sure you got rid of all of those leaves and stuff in the garden. Do you know what's my favorite Sonic game? I kind of go back and forth with this. I'm a 2D Sonic person. I feel Sonic works way better 2D than 3D. I don't really feel like Sonic 3D has actually got to the place it needs to be yet. But I think the best Sonic game ever made is Sonic Mania.
Okay, all right. I will take that. I think that would be my third Would it be my third Sonic game? My favorite Sonic game? Yeah. So Sonic 3 and Knuckles for me, hands down, because that was like the tried and tested formula. Just the technology behind that game was way ahead of its time, like locking two cartridges together. Like who would have thought of that? That was a stroke of genius. I would then say maybe Sonic Adventure 2, but that's more of a nostalgia thing for me. If it hasn't aged all that well, to be fair, like in terms of a 3D Sonic game, it is quite janky, but for what it was at the time, beautiful. And then yeah, Sonic Mania for sure.
I love Mania. I feel like because Sonic 2 is my favorite. I love Sonic 3 as well, but I think Sonic 2 is my favorite. And I feel like Mania just did everything Sonic 2 did just a little better. And obviously they've had years later and having a boss at the end of every level. Like I just think it's good. But we're not here to talk about Sonic all day, because we could do that. We're only a short form podcast. So the world basically turned upside down this year. The last 2 years have been crazy. They've gone like nothing. But it's given gamers a time to be able to kind of get back in that backlog and play some more games. It's also giving creators more time to actually stream and build their audiences and stuff like that. So what games have you been playing during lockdown?
It's gone full circle. So I used to play MMOs relentlessly. So Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft. I actually played World of Warcraft for 14 years before I decided to cut clean and decided, let me play more casual games. So I bought myself a Switch. That didn't work. Ended up like spending 1,400 hours in Splatoon 2 of all things. I play a lot of Mario Kart with like my mates and all that sort of thing. And it's just been playing a range of games. My issue is that all the games I like are 100 hours plus. So I love my Monster Hunters, I love my Pokemon, I love like Final Fantasy 14, and finding the time, even with all of this spare time on my hands, is like next to impossible. But you do your best. At the moment, I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 again. I'm getting ready for Endwalker. It has to be done.
So it's so weird because like RPGs is my ish. RPGs first and then narrative story games. So I fully feel you. Like the games I love are like 100 hours at least. And I'm just like, where do I find time to play these? But I've never got into MMOs, and Final Fantasy 14 has been the one that I've just been, for so long I've wanted to dip my toe in it, but I just don't know if I can do it. I'm like, where do I have time in my life to be able to put everything into one game?
I think the thing that Final Fantasy 14 does differently as well is that it really does like the storytelling really well. A lot of MMOs are like, here's a bunch of stuff that's happening and then just jump in and grind. Whereas Final Fantasy 14 has a balance of both. And that's the killer, because you spend so much time invested in the plot and you're like, oh, a little bit more. And then suddenly it's like 3 a.m. and you've ruined your life. So
that's basically the story of every gamer's life, isn't it? Like, oh, just one more boss, 1 more hour. Like last night I was trying to beat a boss in Shin Megami Tensei 5 and it whacked me up, and I was like, let me just grind for 5 minutes, and 5 minutes become like 2 hours of me just grinding, just rocking away to the music. So earlier on in the pod, I said something that was pretty important, and I just kind of skimmed over it, but I wanted to talk to you a bit about it because as gamers, as creators, like, we do what we love and this is our passion and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is a job where it's a career. We're looking to think. And one of the things that you do incredibly is branding. And I feel like you probably got some of the strongest branding that I've ever seen, like out of the content creators that are around me. Like, you really stand out in your branding. I think it's incredible. Was this a conscious decision? How do you go about like thinking of like marketing yourself? Like, how do you do all of that?
So a lot of my branding are just little bits, just tiny love letters of games that I really enjoy. So there's a bit of Sonic in there, there's a bit of Mario, a bit of Splatoon, and just looking at like the style of the UI and the style of the fonts and kind of just incorporating that into my own thing. It is an iterative process, though. I have changed my branding so many times over the years, and this is just sort of like the latest thing. And I just do silent tweaks as I go along as my taste change, really. I think that's probably the best approach. Like, you're never going to find it instantly spot on day one. It's just going to be something that changes with you as a person and a content creator. So that's probably just something I would advise to put out there. But yeah.
Dope. I love it. So I'm super into art as well. Like I used to draw a lot, and I know you not only stream games, you actually stream art. How do you link your two passions? Does it make sense to your audience? Does your audience get, or do you have two different kind of audiences? Like, how do you link that together?
I think there is a little bit of a split between the audiences at the moment, but a lot of my artwork is based around fan art for video games that either we play on the channel or everybody knows that I love, or it's just like anime based things. And generally like the gaming community and the anime community are just like pretty much one and the same really. But it's a lot of talking about games as well as drawing and talking about techniques and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of gaming related dialogue even within the art streams as well. So yeah.
Love it. So we've had quite a pretty good year when it comes to gaming. It's been interesting. Like there haven't been any super huge like Final Fantasy VII remake kind of games dropping, but I feel like we've had some really great games. So if you had to recommend to either me or the audience a game that you think that they should play, that they may have slept on this year because there's just been so much, what game would be your recommendation for them to go to?
So I finally picked up Scarlet Nexus after the longest time of like looking at it and going, oh, I'm not gonna have time for this. I'm not gonna have time for this. And it is a stunning looking game. I'm enjoying the action RPG mechanics of it. The combat flows really well. But don't sleep on it. It's such a good game. And the developers are in love with what they've created as well, which is what I love the most about that series. Like they're always on social media looking at people enjoying the game and going, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, if you haven't, pick that up.
Yeah, Scarlet Nexus is sick. Like it reminds me of I think sometimes the way Japanese developers make games and Western developers make games are completely night and day.
Yeah.
And that feels like a bit of sync of both. Just the way you like Final Fantasy VII remake feels like a sync of Western ideas, but that very kind of anime Japanese aesthetic. And it's sick. Like when you just using your mind and you teleport and you just lick an enemy in the head with
feel like
with
a
bus,
great.
and then you slice it up. I proper love it, and I'm a super anime geek anyway, so I love that kind of aesthetic. All right, if there's something from your backlog that you haven't been able to get to yet, what would it be? Could be, it doesn't even have to be this year. It's just a game that you're like, I need to play this. I don't have time, but I'm gonna find time.
I think it's Nier Automata. People have been telling me to jump on the Nier bandwagon for a long time now, and it's been sitting on Game Pass for months now. And I know it's going to be another one of those games where I'm going to need to like block out some time to do it, but I need to do it soon. But yeah, that's the one for me.
Nier is incredible. When I mean Nier is incredible in so many senses. So initially what put me off about Nier was because I know Platinum Games are sick. I know when it comes to mechanics and stuff like that, I know Platinum do their thing. But the thing that was putting me off initially is people are like, it's sick, but you got to play it more than once to get the full story. And I'm like, fam, you think I got time to play this game more than once? I'm busy, you know. But what I really like is each playthrough is different and each playthrough is way shorter. So like the first playthrough, you just play the full story. The second playthrough, you play the full story, but on a different character's perspective, shortened. And then the next playthrough, you play a completely different story. So each time you're playing it, you're opening up new stories. And I don't feel like it's been marketed right, because I think people just think, oh, I just got to play the same game over and over again.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, so like when you play the third playthrough, it's a completely, like literally you don't do anything you did in the first two playthroughs. You'll literally go to a whole different place, you meet new characters, then on the full playthrough, you play as a whole different character. Like when I mean this game and the music and the story and the combat is a mazza. That is one. Like if there's anything coming off this podcast, you're gonna go and play you're gonna go and play some Nier and get excited for it.
I might do it right after this now. Might have to do it right after this.
Quickly, I was on your stream and watching you really go ham with Final Fantasy 14. So I'm thinking about dipping my toe into it. Give me some advice. As a newbie, what advice would you give me to step into this MMO? Because I've never played an MMO, not one.
Mhm.
There's no like RPGs. I get all those mechanics and stuff like that, but I've never gone into an MMO. So, what would be your advice for me?
So I think with Final Fantasy 14, definitely just take your time. I feel like with a lot of MMOs, there's really a pressure to try and get to the end as fast as possible, and you don't have to do that with Final Fantasy 14. Take your time. The community in general is really nice, so if you do need advice, you can literally ask anyone, and they will give you the advice that you need. I've not really had a bad experience with the Final Fantasy 14 community yet, but yeah, just soak it all in. There's a lot of pressure to like min-max everything in an MMO, but you don't have to do that. Just do your own thing. That's it.
Just chill and take your time. I love that advice. I'm definitely going to step in. So I've let the people them know you're a fantastic artist. I've let the people them know that you are a Sonic Master, full stop. They come to you for MMOs. If you wanted to send someone to your content or to your stream that's gone, what's the first place that you want them to go and watch that really represents you and really gets a gauge of your personality?
I would either be my Twitter or my Twitch. I feel like, well, there's a video on my channel that you should absolutely watch. The trailer pretty much speaks volumes of what's on the channel, really, to be honest. But yeah, mostly those two.
Yeah, the trailer's dope, personality's dope, and got the swaggeristic stylistic that no one can match. Thank you so much for joining me on Too Many Games Shanghai. Where can the people find you?
So check me out on Shanghaid on Twitch, and it's Shanghaid on everything else, pretty much.
And that's it. I've been Mr. Midas, they've been Shanghai, and we are out of here. Peace.
Bye.